Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday or Tuesday night to you. Not Monday night, sorry. All right, I caught myself.
I thought it was Monday all day, honestly. So
yeah, I caught myself quick. But happy Tuesday. Tuesday. Special Tuesday edition because Bassmaster dropped scheduled day.
Long awaited schedule drop. We've been looking around all the corners for it, and it's finally here.
Yeah, so we've got Steve Owens with us to break that down, and then I believe we have a special guest coming a little bit later too as well.
Yep,
right?
Joe McRoy is going to jump on with us and tell us about the first Tennessee Bass Nation up on Dell Hollow that Steve O was at, and Dan did a great job running. Joe Mac pulled it off in the cold weather, and he's got, of course, being Joe, he's got several adventurous stories to share from that event.
Yeah, and to tie that in, Dale Hollow's on the schedule we're going to talk about.
It is indeed in April. Yeah.
Is it the first time a national event's gone to Dale Hollow? Quote national event.
You'll have to ask Steve. He knows trivia. I don't.
No, Dale Hollow is always talked about, and it's on Tennessee schedules and things.
If it has Dale Hollow in the title, I'm very unlikely to to subject myself to that. She's beat me pretty bad a few times.
I see. All right. But yeah, we're going to have Steve on, Joe on. It's going to be a good one. What else in the news this week? I know the schedule drop was the big news, but I saw something else. I don't know if you're aware of this, Ryan. There were rumors the last couple of weeks, that the All-American Kayak Series was no more.
We did hear that. Yeah, we had a couple of listeners chime in on that, as a matter of fact.
However, today, breaking news today,
but wait, there's more.
This Bassmaster schedule, it's probably the most spread out national schedule, I'd call it. We've got it way out west. We'll get into all that. But it left a kind of a hole in the Midwest a little bit, like some of these schedules sometimes do, which is fine.
Yeah.
And like any good Marine, Josh filled that hole. He filled that hole with a new schedule.
Perfect.
So he announced today that the All-American Series is not going away, and they will have a 5-event schedule going back to one-day events.
Yeah.
On Saturdays only. So there you go. All-American Series is sticking around.
And I think especially, kind of the landscape that we've seen evolve the past few years, I think there's plenty of room for that. Like, I think there's a lot of room for kind of a mid-tier where it's not as expensive. It's single-day tournaments. I think that fills a void that a lot of guys are looking for too.
Yeah, I heard this is all hearsay, but 125-ish entry fees, Grand Lake, lacrosse, all stuff in the center of the country. So, are
there any in Iowa? I saw a guy post on the Bass schedule. They've overlooked Iowa again. I was like, yeah, that's probably gonna happen, brother. I don't know how many people run into Iowa.
Yeah, Fishing with Gramps is in there saying the Kayak Adventure Series are brought. I saw the first part of their schedule, but I don't know if there's going to be more to come with that. But hey, I saw one event on that Kayak Adventure Series schedule that kind of weirded me out a little bit because I'm from up that way. Is a Springfield, Ohio event. Ohio is not renowned for the great fishing, so I don't know where they're fishing around Springfield, but hey, good on them.
Is there a river up there somewhere, I assume?
No, man. I don't know.
No, ain't a river. Well,
I grew up fishing rivers around Dayton, Ohio. We never trekked towards Springfield to find any new water, so I don't know what's over there. But somebody enlighten me in the comments. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
I saw Fluke Master dropped a team trail that actually has a pretty appealing schedule for the southern state folks, especially. I saw Susky was thrown in there as an outlier, but there's several Tennessee River venues on there. I saw he's hitting Gunnersville, Nickajack, and Kentucky Lake. So that'll be another thing to look out for next year.
I'm unfamiliar with the setup for that. Is it 2-man team, or are we talking like KBT style team?
I think it's a 2-man team. I don't know. I didn't read too much into the details of it, but I think it is two-man teams.
Merlin Hammer on Facebook says that's the best schedule he's ever seen. Hey, okay, Merlin, I see you. Fishing with Gramps is in the comments. Maybe he knows more about that because I know he was involved with some of the teams. 2-man team. Okay, Gramps and Top Shelf 2-man team. There we go. So get on them. Some other news before we get Steven here and talk about it. There was a post that we put on the KBN page, and it's been floating around other pages, and other people have been posting it as well. I can't believe we're going to talk about this again. At least I'm going to talk about it again. But another angler is out there complaining about lack of payment from KBF. Can you believe that is happening again, Ryan?
I can't believe people keep signing up for it when it's happened so many times in the past. But
yeah,
if you're not going to learn, then just keep on waiting on that money.
Yeah,
Ryan
crazy.
voted Dardanelle. Thank you, Ashley K. I did vote Dardanelle.
Voted in Dardanelle or for Dardanelle?
You got the ops out there. I don't want nothing to do with Dardanelle, except that one place we went and hung out at. That was cool, the bank or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, I saw that break today with the KBF deal. I don't know, man. That's a problem that's been going on for a decade or more, and I think we're maybe to the end of that. So, good luck to the anonymous person that was wanting his money because it was an anonymous post.
Nikki, I don't know what the status of the BOS is. We haven't heard anything on our end. AJ alluded to the fact that there may be some changes for 2025, but I haven't heard any confirmed news at all from it.
Yeah, there's some anglers popping off making statements that they shouldn't be making because there has been no official news on any of that. So I know that the industry as a whole, there's some definite shakeups going on. There's some struggling going on with different shops, different parts of the country. So I mean, that's a real thing.
And I think obviously we have Steve Owens on tonight. He's going to allude to kind of how stuff like that snowballs, right? So the economy's down. Everybody knows it. You can tell when you go to the grocery store. I think a lot of people are not spending like they were, and therefore, even host city venues, tackle shops, it's felt, all the way across the industry. So I think we're seeing a lot of that, kind of affecting the way tournament series move in the next year or two.
Keith Lambert and Lambert. It sounds like a law firm.
You met Keith? Didn't you meet Keith at PK? He had his son with him. They came and hung out with us at the restaurant. They came to watch us throw cornhole that one night when me and Siddiqui ran it up on the PK Club. Yeah, that's right. Fishing with Gramps, regardless of who you support, plenty of opportunity everywhere. That's right. There's always opportunity. I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's a bottom-up sport. The local trails are where it's at to begin with, and there are plenty of local and regional trails all over the place that kind of help build this thing anyway. So I think you see, with some of the money crunch and stuff that's going on, you'll see more of the local stuff and the grassroots stuff kind of gain back some of what it's lost with as many people running, trying to run around and do 2 or 3 big national trails. I think with the crunch, that's going to make a lot more sense. Yeah. We got a big audience tonight on YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate y'all. We're doing a Revo giveaway. So get in on that giveaway. Just hit the share on Facebook, and then all you have to do on YouTube is just like and comment. We prefer you comment under the video, but you can comment in the live chat too. That's fine. Just like and comment there and share it on Facebook. We used to stream on X, but Elon started wanting money for us to do that, so we don't do that anymore. We're on Facebook and YouTube only. So there we go. Sorry to the Twitcher that used to watch us. I hope you're here with us on YouTube. With that said, let's get into the sponsors, man. Then we'll get Steve in and talk about this thing. That's why everybody's here. They're not here for us. They're here for Steve-O. Wonderful Steve-O. But I already said we're doing a Revo giveaway tonight. The show is presented by Eco Fishing Shop. We appreciate them. Ryan especially, had an adventure going to the Eco Fishing Shop Big Bass 250. Just got his truck back. You got it back now, right? No, I don't have it back. No, you don't have it back? No. Sorry. Pardon me. I spoke too soon. Misery. No truck. His truck is in Missouri, soaking up some Missouri mojo. Getting ready. I hope Steve-O's going to ride with me to go get the thing, since he was with me when I wrecked it. But I don't know if I'd recommend that. We'll get into that.
You can go get your other wheel out of a cornfield if that happens. Yeah, but Eco Fishing Shop, man, we appreciate them. Holidays are coming. Still have a couple weeks out if you haven't got your gifts yet for the kayakers in your family, kayak anglers. So get over to ecofishingshop.com.
And if your family gets on your nerves, stock up on Western Sun for the holidays.
There you go.
Help ease the pain a little bit there.
Yeah, if you need to speak some truth to your crazy left-wing family members, drink you some Western Sun and yell at them.
Light it on fire, pal.
Yeah, yell at them in the dining room. Yell at them in the dining room. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, we all need to get along with it, no matter how you lean politically. We love you, no matter what.
Oof.
Yeah, sorry guys. And Pro Guide Lithium, of course, the battery. No controversy with the battery sponsor.
No. Just good old Pro Guide in Missouri.
Yeah, in Missouri. Appreciate you, Pro Guide. Batteries of KBN. We appreciate you. Revo, we mentioned them, but Gill, Seaguar, Z-Man. There's some shipments heading out soon on some of our.
Dude, I talked to Z-Man today. My boy Ryan Harder, love him to death. He did respond to my email and said that I guess he deleted my other email, and he said, "Could you please resend that with all those winners that you asked me to send the packages to?" So those went out today, boys. Good luck.
There we go. FYSH Fish on YouTube says his Newport 300 has been shipped from Eco. Black Friday deal was too good to pass up. How about that?
I do want a Newport 300. I do. That's one thing that's on my Christmas list. If anybody's looking to buy me something.
Keith asked about the grandbaby. Little Roro got her poured out a few weeks ago. She's got hair. She's running everywhere, jumping on everything, and is just full of fire. So she's doing great. Rolling. Thanks for asking, Keith. But yeah, let's get Steve in here. What do you say, Ryan?
Let's do it. I like to.
Steve Owens.
Hey, my friends. How are y'all?
How many times you been on here now, dude?
5,000.
3 or 4, I think.
3 or 4? Okay.
As many as I have, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
That's all right. You're one of the made men around here, Steve. You've been on quite a few times. So.
Well, I appreciate
Diggs
that. I need all the help I can
Is this the
get.
same Steve-O you took frog fishing and he about hit you with a frog multiple times because he was setting the hook too quick? Yes.
Yep.
This is Steve-O. We have been at this kayak fishing game since we both jumped into it about a decade ago, believe it or not. And here we sit.
Yep, that was it. I'm convinced they were bass, but they could have been gar. But either way, I didn't get a
They were
hook in
bass.
any of
They were
them.
100% bass.
Yeah. So, but I can do a little better with a frog now. But
Yeah, Steve-O has honed his craft quite a bit since those days. We both have. We were both quite a mess back then.
Yeah, I was throwing 5 XDs on a spinning rod for a whole year.
Really?
That's how I probably screwed my whole arm up. Yeah.
That was it.
That's why I got a bidet. Got a bidet now from cranking on a spinning rod. Yeah. Got no grip strength here. No grip strength.
It's inside the kayak. It's crazy.
Well, we were gonna talk about the new boat sponsor of the series later, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, dang. All right, I'm going to kick Jeff off tonight, and Steve-O will just run the rest of it.
No, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You keep floating softballs up for me. Now, big news this week, man, with the schedule dropping, new title sponsor, new presenting sponsor. So a lot to get to, Steve. A lot to get to. Exciting stuff, right?
Yeah, I got Jordan in there washing dishes, so I got the rest of it. So go ahead.
He's going to get hit in the head with a wooden spoon.
All right. We've got some good comments coming in. I don't know where we want to start with this, Ryan. We want to go schedule. We want to go sponsors first with them. What do you want to do?
Well, let's let Steve-O decide. He's the man of the hour. We'll let him captain the ship. Steve, what do you want to touch on first, the schedule or your new sponsors?
The sponsors will probably take the least amount of time. So, I mean, obviously you guys saw the last 2 days, Newport vessels, make outboard motors for our kayak series. All of us have been a big supporter of them for a good little while. Most of the manufacturers in the country, in the sport, support all the trail series, but Newport stepped up in the last 3 years, pretty big way. And so we were happy to have them on as our title sponsor coming this year. We've had Ramel on here many times, explaining, why you need these certain things. And with the growth of kayaks like native kayaks, Ryan and I were a part of native for a long time. He helped develop the Titan, and so you need, for as much travel as we do, a lot of people flying in or driving in and needing to cover as much water as they can. And I mean, for good, bad, or indifferent, I mean, I think motors has helped a lot of people get into our sport. I mean, we had a growing pain there where we all fussed and fought about it. And Ryan and I did the same thing here in Tennessee. We didn't want motors for the longest. And after an off season of putting around in them, we found it kind of made fishing a little more enjoyable, especially when you don't have time to practice on some of these lakes that you come to real quick. But we all know Howie and Ramel, and we know Tyler and the guys at Native, and they're just phenomenal people. They're high integrity people. They're like us. They want to see people succeed, and it's refreshing to have those kind of people want to support a tournament series that we've worked hard to rebuild and redo, so to speak.
Yeah, and
Well,
frankly,
and just about any bullshit that we've thrown at them, they have gotten behind for years.
Yeah.
Steve O's first national tournament that he ran is the one that the Tournament of Titans down on Gunnersville, and that was something we just literally made up out of thin air, and and they got behind it and supported it, monetarily and with boats to give away, and it was kind of the beginning of the spreading of what we have before us now, and I think here we have Steve leading Bassmaster now, so clearly it wasn't the worst idea we've ever had.
yeah, and Native was out front. Native with the Titan X, the way they set this thing up for motors and all the electronics. I mean, really forward thinking with how the series is going. I know Bonafide with the XTR, similar deal, but Native was looking at where these things are going, and it just makes sense they jumped in with the Bassmaster Tournament Series. So good partnership there, Steve-O.
Yeah, we're happy to have them, and hopefully we can, help them grow like we do everything else. So.
Yeah, and Ramel, man, we've had him on a bunch of times talking about the Newports, but it was cool to see Newport jump in as a title sponsor. How'd that go down? Have you been talking to them for a while, or did the opportunity present itself and they jumped on it, or how'd that go?
Well, I mean, we all, we're all running the same circle. So we chat around, and everything. And they had, supported the BOS series and Tennessee and Georgia Bass Nation here and some other stuff. And, so we talked for a little while, just me, but I'm not actually engaged in the sales part of it, like signing the contracts. But they reached out, and like kicking the tires and getting a few numbers. And so I went ahead and explained what I knew and got them over to Jeff Hopkins and James Hudson, our main sales guys on the kayak side, and which James is, I believe, like VP of sales now. And he's a phenomenal dude, and they closed it, man. They are looking at ways we can do better, promoting sponsors and anglers, because they do a great job of that on the boat side, but those people have had those jobs for a while. So when you start incorporating something new, it takes time for them to learn what we do and help extract things during practice and tournaments to put on social media and everything. And so I think these last few years we grew the base enough to where they saw that they would get the return on investment in the trail series.
I like it. I think it's a good move. I mean, obviously, Newport kind of came in guns a-blazing, offered kind of more of an open concept platform as far as rigging your boat to where, you had a lot of different options to power it. And Ramel, like you said, I mean, he's been in the game forever and truly, a visionary. Like, he sees things completely different than everybody else, and he's brought those products into both Native and Newport now, just kind of with his thought process and product development. So I think it's going to be a really good partnership there.
Yeah, we got some comments coming in. Let me throw the main nugget up on the screen here. People came in here to talk about the schedule. Schedule dropped today. People are excited. So let's jump right into it, man. I'm over here on Bassmaster.com. First of all, Steve, and this has been a thing since last year, really the year before, but it is so cool to see how they have. I mean, they make no differential between the boat side and the kayak side. They push out the information on tournament day, and the press releases are not hidden anywhere. It's real news coming out of Bassmaster. Giving it the respect it deserves. So that's cool to see over there.
Yeah, that's pretty legit. I was excited about the graphics because that's kind of my deal. I can't necessarily make them look that good, but we've got Joe Hybenrick that helps us on the Tennessee and Georgia and TVKA stuff, and he helps KBFTN and the whole state of Tennessee, and it looked pretty great. It just adds something to it, kind of like the trophies and the checks that we do in some of these events. It just you're going to win the money regardless, but those other things I think just kind of, add a little bit of an interior decorating theme to it, I think.
Yeah, for sure, man. Look good, play good. I always used to say that in sports.
Coming
So,
in. Folks excited for Champlain, Del Hollow.
well, the one obviously that jumps right out is the leadoff, which is just a few weeks away, really. I mean, it's in January, and going out to Arizona, Havasu, Lake Havasu, which is a pretty well-known lake, but it's not been on a kayak fishing radar really up until now. So, what a way to open it! I don't know what the climate's like out there in January, but it's probably better than it is in most parts of the country. So, tell us about how that
at night in the desert.
How did you guys land out there on Havasu, and how excited are you about going out west finally?
I'm pretty excited. I worked hard last year to try to get something, but as you know, and we all do agree, we don't need 9 or 10 tournaments in this series. We can't. I don't like that it's spread out as much as it is going for this year, but this is just what we landed on. But for Havasu, I actually had Isaac Ochoa reach out to me from out there, and at the same time, I was working on Shasta, Clear Lake, New Maloney's, just whatever I could get out there. And as we know, California is very difficult to work with, and so I worked for 3 or 4 months on those 3 lakes, and it it's pretty frustrating. But Bassmaster gave me the okay. They said, if you can get something out west, let's do it. Let's let it, make it sort of a test run and see what we can get. And we don't expect 200 anglers at Havasu, but we'd like to see 100, 120-ish. We know it's early, but hopefully those guys can get some cabin fever. I know some of the Pacific Northwest states that I'm targeting here are still going to have some ice and everything, but this event was actually going to try to be more towards the end of February or March, because after February, they get so many yacht races, sailboat races. It's unreal. And then you all know the party crowd that comes in. So I talked to the pros out there in Arizona, and that time of year, it's 45 to 65-ish. It kind of ranges that way a little bit. It can be a little bit windy, but 45 out there to them is like 15 to us. So they hate 45. We hate 15. Just reached out and I just started making phone calls just to every chamber or park ranger I could get. And then we stumbled across the right person, and they jumped all over it. I mean, and it's gorgeous out there. And hopefully we can get this one and make it decently successful to keep number 6 for next year out there. And my mind's eye, Newport being out there, they're 2 hours from Clear Lake. So if we can get that out there for those guys, I worked with Snyder and all the other California people out there because they start in February. And I was like, guys, I'm going to need to come here. But sadly, there is, wouldn't you know, a huge fishing expo in Sacramento. So there's some of the top guys are going to have to make a choice, but it gets it off the ground out there. So hopefully we can make it something.
How big of a California?
You're gonna have to buy Edwin a new rig if you're gonna try to put him on.
Yeah.
Put him on that road.
Yeah, he get lost.
I put him in one of them Yakima box on the bed of my truck.
Yeah. What I don't know what the tournament scene's like out as far as numbers of anglers in Utah, Arizona, out west like that, but I know California has a lot. So what do you think?
Yeah.
How many folks from California you think make that trip from down to?
In my mind, like New Mexico has, and I'm only going off of Bass Nation stuff because I do know those numbers. I know Arizona has a really, really successful one. They're like in year number 3 or 4 as well. They've got a good attendance. New Mexico has a good one. Colorado has a good one. I'm expecting 60-ish from there. And if we can get 50 from California, that gets us over 100. And then we can sprinkle in, whatever insane person wants to drive from Tennessee or Florida.
I saw
North
Terry
Carolina
Elkins posted from Kentucky. It was like 25 hours.
Yeah, it's 27 for me, and thankfully Boss Lady's going, and we're going to make a vacation on the way back through Grand Canyon and everything. But I'll be cross-eyed because as soon as I come back from there, I've got East Tennessee Fishing Expo, I've got Lake Seminole, Georgia, and then turn right around and head to Kissimmee. So,
well, check your lug nuts before you leave. If I taught you anything,
I won't. I'm not going to buy fancy wheels.
Hell, it's new brakes was the problem. I should have just left them bare, and we would have stopped fast.
Yeah, no kidding. So,
Merlin Hammer says 27 from Indiana are going to Utah or Arizona. I'm sorry, that's crazy, Merlin.
27 people in Indiana don't know where Arizona is.
We're not talking about for the college football playoff game.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Merlin says the team schedule is the best schedule he's ever seen. But my last year, 2024 Bassmaster schedule was the best he's ever seen.
Well,
in fair weather.
It's evolving, Steve. You know.
Yeah, it is. But that team championship's going to be cool. We've actually got a Tennessee Bass Nation on that Nickajack one with them. That's going to be a pretty decent little deal for everybody around here. And that's not to get too far off the schedule, but like you alluded to, Jeff. I mean, with the All American Series and stuff like that, I don't think there's much of a letdown anywhere. We're just going to have to continue to support all this stuff because, as you see with the Bassmaster Series, we're finally getting that publicity out into the public, away from just the kayak world. And if that's why it takes the commitment to these events that you might not like the lake. And I know it's asking money, but if you got to make a little bit further of a drive, we have to continue to do these things so that we can continue to do these things. Otherwise, we'll just go back to fishing, all of our local stuff, which needs support too. But that's why I was saying on this one, it is a little spread out. But as we alluded to, we can talk about that later after we go through the list of events. It's like why we did land on such a spread out schedule.
Yeah, if this guy here makes the trip, Steve, 2,900 miles from Maine, he should just get a spot in the championship if he just drives.
Yeah, if you can bring us documented fact that you drove 2,500 plus miles, you get in automatic, right?
That's wild.
Todd, y'all better go back and watch the Michigan tape before you open your mouth on football now. Hush.
Nah, go Vols. Vols are the only hope to get rid of Ryan Day. Get them out. Yeah. All right. Let's
just have
event,
my money, Todd.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Next event, this is where the schedule actually started. Was working with AJ and Drew, deconflicting everything we had. Kissimmee actually reached out to us before I was even ready to start on a schedule, and that happened like super quick. It was before the middle of the season last year. Super excited. They've had other national events in that area before. Working on what waters we're going to open up for all of it because, if we're expecting 200 people, we're going to need more than the 3 or 4 lakes, and they're okay with that. They're all right with opening that. So that's something I hope that we continue to try to do, being sensitive of people's travel. But Kissimmee is going to be a lot of fun. About everything in Florida right now is on the upswing, except for Okeechobee and whatnot. But
yeah, should be good. Now,
and that
Kissimmee,
was one
No, go ahead.
So
Steve.
if you look at Kissimmee, in my mind's eye, Havasu, just the normal person that supported the series last year, take that one off your map and look at the 5 that we have left. That because Havasu was one for those people out there, and if you can make it, that's phenomenal. We want you to be there. But the meat and potatoes of it was to, keep what we could, 2 in the southeast-ish area, 1 in the Midwest, which I call Oklahoma, Arkansas, Midwest. And then the true Northeast, because the true Northeast has supported, and I know it was Susquehanna, but they supported, the several New York Hobie events up there too. And then obviously we got to be in the Texas, Louisiana area. But so starting out with Kissimmee, it was important to have that one super early so that you could have time to rebound your funds to drive to Texas to Lake Fork for the championship in March.
Yeah. And that people may look at the schedule and say, okay, February, we don't have another tournament on this thing until late April. But don't forget, championship in March in Fork. Can't be stacking tournaments on top of that. Plus, there's just a lot of other stuff going on early March into April, right, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's like if you pull up, even Gene and them's team series, and I say that because I expect that to be heavily populated with anglers. It's going to be exciting. It'll be well ran. And then you've got like our Bass Nation stuff in certain areas that's growing. And then, we always are sensitive to the Lone Star Throwdown and now the Eco Big Bass 250, which was phenomenal. And the All-American Kayak Series, that's the 1st of May every year. So when you start looking at those things, if you schedule on them, you look like a prick, but you can't help it sometimes. But I busted my butt to stay off of all of that. Actually even worked with the Eco guys to move ours to a part of the season where Duke and them could finish out strong. And then the eco tournament can grow, because although this is my baby here, I want that other stuff to grow too. And so that's why, we thankfully Toledo Bend, not to jump to the end, fishes well that time of year. It's one of those lakes like Chick. They hammered and destroyed it, but it's coming back finally. So,
yeah. So let's run through the rest of these, man. We got Dale Hollow in April. Has that been on the national schedule? Ryan and I talked about that before we brought you in. I know it's
remember if there's
popular lake.
No, it hasn't. That's something AJ and I discussed for a lot of years, because he's actually the one that introduced us to Dale Hollow and how great it is with his bluegrass kayak anglers for a long time. And so when that went away, Tennessee Bass, we started going up there every year. And in our last 5 tournaments, we've got an 86 angler average. And one of those tournaments was 56 because it was year one. So, I mean, we're averaging, you take that one away, we're at 95 anglers the last 4 years on that body of water. It's just nuts. Like, Ryan always cusses because it's in December, which is, kind of when it's the time. But learning that body of water more, April will be absolutely stupid. The big largemouth, big smallmouth, it's just going to be great. And that's one that I'm super excited on. So to put the schedule in perspective and why it took so long, I worked on 3 other lakes in the Southeast for 6 months, back and forth. And people just aren't answering the phones anymore. People's budgets are gone for fishing and outdoor stuff. Government budget cuts. That's who signs the checks for fishing stuff in the states, or governments, and they're cutting it everywhere. And so thankfully, if you ever get to meet Dennis Tumlin, hug his neck, because he's the reason this schedule got done, even to this quickly. So Dale Hollow is going to be crazy. It's going to be a really good time. Now, it's pretty rural. Think back to the Kentucky Lake days where you had to drive just 45 minutes to get 18-20 miles. It's kind of that way because it's real rural, but it's easy to get to everywhere. And if it's windy, there's plenty of places to get out of. Joe will tell you later, we experienced that this week during practice, a lot of high winds, and it was pretty easy to get out of the winds in those places there. So pretty diverse lake. The water's going to be up that time of year, so it'll be pretty spectacular. I think that one will surprise some people.
Yeah, and you go from there to 10 Killer, man. That would be kind of a head scratcher maybe to some people for a national event until you had the championship on it and what went down for that. Now everybody's familiar with it. They're excited to go back, I think. So how'd you get 10 Killer back involved there?
Like literally when we're up there, some of you guys were there and they hung out with us at the meet and greets and stuff. And she's just phenomenal Chamber of Commerce director. And she was like, I want an event next year. I want a college event. I want an open event. I want an elite event. Anything y'all can give us, I want it. And I was like, well, give me just a second to see what's going on here. And the smallmouth that are in 10 Killer are actually the Tennessee strand. But, as y'all saw, largemouth and smallmouth are in that lake. Wanted to get there the perfect time of year that I could, and talking with, Josh and the people out there, that was a good month to kind of get there before all of the boat traffic gets there, the pleasure boats and everything. And so that's supposed to be the time to go. But that one sold itself. It was so the feedback we got during the championship was so positive. And then trying in my mind's eye to get the Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas people something there to where in my mind, I knew, not many people can fish 4 or 5 of the 6 at all. So in my mind, I'm thinking a person can fish in the Southeast 3. You can drive 8 to 10 hours to Kissimmee or wherever you live. You can drive 5 to 6 hours to Tennessee, and then you pick you a long haul for a vacation type trip, and you can get 3 in. That's what I had to looking at our numbers. I just had to focus where I thought a majority of the people could get 3.
Steve said, drive 10 hours and then pick a long haul. You bunch of pansies. You better learn how to drive for 10 hours. That's like going to the grocery store.
Steve said, I'll teach you boys to ask for an elite kayak series.
Oh, mercy.
Something else.
Yeah. So 10 Killer, man, then it's the northern swing, I suppose, right? We're heading to Lake Champlain.
Yeah, and then, obviously we would love to go to Susky every single year, but, it's easy to put a tournament on Susky, but in order to get chamber support, it's pretty hard to get a like I see, there's two or three that I know of that are going to be on Susky this year. But that chamber support up there is really hard to obtain. And they needed a break, I believe. So, I would love to have went right back there again. It's a phenomenal place, obviously, but that true Northeast area, I mean, they supported it and started looking. We've got the West Virginia people, Virginia, that we had a really good showing this year from them, traveling other places, New Jersey. We had, several of those pop up at all those tournaments. And so they prove that, they do show up for events. And, we've got Bassmaster tournaments on Champlain quite often in the past. So that one was pretty easy to get right out of the gate, speaking with them. Wanted to go a little earlier than July, but I mean, July fishing is good, but I mean, it could get a little rocky with people out there, I'm sure, as anywhere else, but it is a massive body of water. I've been reading the comments as well. So there will be launches for all of these. I've got to get started on those now that it's done. Those launches will be published as quick as possible. Havasu will be out pretty much, very, very soon, like within the next, hopefully this week. But on the others with Champlain, that's one we've been mulling over because I don't believe in restricting water that much. But I gotta be careful and make sure that I'm not putting people on the side of the lake that they're going to try to cross or whatever, which is a reason to open more of it up. So I'm going to look at the Vermont area as much as I can. But I'm going to need to figure out because, I need you to come for awards, but I can't make it where awards is 3.5 hours after lines out, which is some other things we'll talk about. If y'all want to touch on rules when we're done with this next lake real quick, we can. So
Yeah, man. So finale Toledo Bend. It's been
That
a staple.
as they say.
It's been a staple on the national trails for a reason. It's a great lake, great place to have a tournament. So finale early this year, right? September, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, and again, we could have went, in the October timeframe that we wanted to, like we did at Caddo Vistano, but that does kind of step on the toes of the existing, Lone Star Throwdown, and then we want the Eco, which Eco they said they easily could move to September or even more into November. But after talking with the people that live down there, September does still fish really, really good, and the grass is coming back on that body of water. Everybody thinks, pre-spawn and everything, but I'm just, after seeing what you guys went through down there the last time with all that wind and everything, I think this time of year will be good. It's going to be hot, but it's going to be hot everywhere. The one thing is we'll be done earlier, than a lot. So that means you got your other championships that you can get into. But what we're working with, Hemp Hill, Texas, and the Sabine County down there, they're building a huge mega complex, like 350 boat trailer facility down there for bass boat fishing going forward, which most people host Toledo Bend out of Louisiana, but Texas wants in. And so Jason Willis helped me get in touch with them, and they were right out of the gate on board with it. It took a little while. That was actually the one that took the longest, not amount of time, but has what's held the schedule release up, just because they are new to some stuff. So the insurance language had to get vetted, and that takes some time because the people that run the stuff down there, they're government employees. They have meetings and stuff they have to get into. So I think Toledo Bend's going to be a really, really nice way to end the season. And again, going into 2026, I could put the 26 schedule together today if I wanted to, but with this one having to be so spread out, I'm going to make certain that next year is now that I have choices. This year we didn't have many options. Which every one of these lakes are going to be ringers when you fish them. But as far as logistics, when Ryan gets on me all the time, that's something I painstakingly look at, because I don't want you to have to do those things, because I know it's hard to do, and I'm an inclusive person. So I want you to be able to travel to everything that you can. So I'll have more time and a better map to look at going into 2026 to where we can make it to where you can cross-pollinate more and maybe make a few more events than what you could this year. But it's, again, we all know those fisheries. There's going to be lights out. The biggest part is we're going to promote you guys. We're going to take what you do in these tournaments, and you see it's all over the place now. Whether that means a lot to someone or not, I can't help that, but I can just give you what we're going to offer, and that's that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you You get yourself marketed and highlighted based off of whatever you want from it, give you the platform to fish it, give you a tournament series that's going to be ran as airtight as it can be. You're going to know that when you show up, you're fishing against yourself and the fish, and listen to you and take your feedback and tweak it going forward. That's just the way
I
we
think
always
this will
work.
be a good test schedule to kind of give a market idea of what areas can really support a tournament. I think, having tournaments based within 7 or 8 hours of the Southeast has kind of been the norm for the most part, with a couple outliers here and there with, the Northeast or going further out west. But I think, you'll be able to see what parts of the country are really showing up because, with these lakes spread out there, I don't know if there's 2 of them within 10 hours of each other. Maybe, I don't know, Del Hollow is probably 10 hours from Toledo. But, they're so spread out, this is going to need a lot more regional support, I think, just based on, how far away they are. So, you guys in the local clubs, I know we've seen a lot of the New Mexico guys in the comments, California in the comments. It's on you to pick this, to pick this stuff up. Like, show up and support these events if you want to have them back. Because like Steve said, Bass is always watching. They're always looking at expansion. If they wanted to expand to a 7 or 8 tournament series, what regions could hold it, hold their own by themselves, without relying on that, influx of people coming in.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to bring in Joe. We're not going to interview him yet, but I feel bad that he's been sitting there listening to us. I'm going to bring him in so he can be part of this. What's up, Joe? But I'm going to run through some. What's up, man? I'm going to run through some questions we had saved for Steve-O, and then we'll get into this with Joe, who won the Bass Nation event, Tennessee Bass Nation event on Dale Hollow. It's on the schedule. So congrats, Joe. But welcome to the Q&A with Steve. So we're going to bring you in here to listen.
I've been paying attention, Steve-O. I'm trying to figure out how many miles I'm going to put on my vehicles this year. Thank you, my friend.
I asked AJ one time how much mileage he got before I bought my last Silverado, and he said, "Man, I don't even pay attention to it. You got to put gas in it, so just drive." That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Arizona.
Those Bill Dance trophies are legit, by the way. Those are amazing.
Yeah. The color suits me good.
Rocky Top.
Hey, that, Bama boys. Let's go.
Roll Tide. Lunch money. I'm going to tell you, buddy, I looked really hard for a Tennessee hat in my house. But when I got divorced about 25 years ago, all of that orange went with her. So it's nothing but Roll Tide, baby.
Well, that's a terrible loss. I hope she got you good in the divorce. Clearly, she took all the good stuff out of the house.
Exactly.
All right, Steve. I'm gonna rapid fire you these questions, my man. First, Joe Mack on YouTube. Any change to entry fees?
The entry fee will still be $250, but this year I'm adding the Stripe and Tourney X fee onto the entry fee, which should be about $12, I think. Last year, or 2024, what I did was instead of doing that, I took it out of the payout schedule. Because for the last 2 years, Bassmaster covered Tourney X and Stripe fees. And when you do that on 1,000 anglers, that's a lot of money. And so last year I took it out of the payout, and that's a lot of money. That's could have been close to $2,000 per tournament. I want to put that back into the pocket of the people who are cashing the check. So what that'll do is it'll just increase your entry fee a little bit, but it actually came out of the payout last year. You're going to pay a little extra this year. And what I'll do is to keep the top money where it is kind of heavy. What I want to try to do is take that, let's just say we got 200 anglers, that $2,000 we gain off of that 1,205 extra or whatever. I want to spread that out into the bottom half of the payout to make it where maybe last place in the money brings home $700 instead of $500. That way it helps you, make you some gas money back. So it'll increase just a tiny bit, but it's on the front end instead of the back end. So
there we go. James over on Facebook with a question. How many do we need to fish to make the championship?
3 for AOY. 3 gets you your Dakota Lithium top 50 angler point standings, just like last year or this year and the years before.
There we go. Carl over on Facebook. Budget approval for more cameras / boat crews. Will there be Bass Live during events?
Bass Live, no, because we have to have that truck, and that's mighty expensive. But I'm pretty certain we get Mark Cisneros on the water for both days for the whole year this year.
There we go. Big worm. This is a long question from Sean over on Facebook. Good schedule to try and grow the series for future years, but probably too spread out for most anglers to fish 4 or 5 of the tournaments with travel time, lodging costs, pre-fishing time, and missing work. More of a statement than a question, but you kind of already addressed that a little bit, Steve.
Yeah, it is, and it's what we have for right now. And obviously, like I said, I've got really good options in Minnesota next year. I've got 3 in Wisconsin that have reached out. Got Potomac that's on the hook. They want to come now. Merlin mentioned rivers. I've got New River, James River, both want us to come there. Got another 2 lakes in Florida that want us to come there. Got another one in Tennessee, 2 in Alabama, Smith Lake
now
in
we're
Virginia.
coming home. Let's go.
Yeah, Virginia is now coming on, but all of these people reached out when I had one event to put back into the schedule, and it had to be, in that Texas area. So we're going to have a buttload of options next year, or for 26 schedule. So yeah,
a buttload. I like it.
Yeah, Adam, I've been watching Adam and them, the Beanies boys. I love it.
Run off and left Fillmore. He can't get that far from the house, or his ankle monitor starts beeping.
That's awesome.
This is 2 of the similar question. I'll read them both to you though quickly, Steve. Colton Ulrich on YouTube. Will there be any maps of launches for Havasu? And then Jake Stern on YouTube also. What are the boundaries for Champlain? Basically, people asking when are the boundaries going to be out? Launch is going to be out. I'm sure that's TBD, right? Still to come.
Yeah, there will be ones for every lake, just like last year or this year. Havasu will be coming very soon. The others are going to come within the next 2 weeks to a month, because Champlain's going to be one that I have to study quite a bit. So I'm looking at opening Vermont the best I can, but I want to pay attention to the safety above all to make sure I'm not doing something that's going to, put people in peril. Kayak gramps, like having 2 motors on your kayak. It's only going to be one for next year. I knew that question was going to come too. One kayak motor at all times, no spares, no nothing. One kayak motor, and you need to have your backup man-powered paddle or pedal drive. So,
sorry, JT, no DP for you, buddy. Merlin Hammer asks, why no rivers this year?
Because they just wouldn't answer the phone. I mean, that's just this is it. And so
rivers have no cell service.
Yeah, I reached out, but like I said, New River and James reached out towards the tail end of this planning, and so those are
that
high
James will be
probabilities.
fun, buddy.
I think so too, man. I got excited, and they are too. And most of those guys are Yankees fans too, so I like it.
Yeah, Corey Whitechurch, man, he asked when will bass start coming to Missouri for a tournament. I'll tell you, and I'm gonna speak not for Steve or anybody else, but just what I've heard, and you can give me the thumbs up on this, Steve. Missouri, especially, like I always like Table Rock, stuff like that. I beat the drum for Table Rock, Lake of the Ozarks. Those are tourist places anyway, and from what I understand, they don't really care about a fishing tournament coming there because they don't need it. They're tourist towns anyway. Is that fair to say that, Steve?
Yeah, it is 100%. I called Table Rock. I called. I had Norfolk or somebody like that reached out, Norfolk or something.
Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty small lake. But I reached out to 3 lakes in that area. So,
Josh Evans, when do we get the 2026 schedule? He should have it done next week, Josh. I would just keep listening to this podcast and wait on it to drop.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I did. I called several in Missouri, and I actually got a hold of the people to talk to out there, and it was just like still nothing. So
yeah. I mean, tourist towns that get that many people coming through, they're not going to need that. Norfolk, go, Steve. Don't let
but
go.
I'm going to keep working on them. I'm not going to be ignored like that. I'm not saying fisticuffs.
We'll break their kneecaps.
They'll answer us eventually, and I'll just keep working on it. It's just
round and roll a tire up in your living room. Drive by.
Steve will help. I can't do it by myself.
Yeah. I told Jordan I've got until January the 11th to get your truck back. So. Yeah, you're welcome, Corey, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I will be free to ride back after old BBD.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Larson, you will not see me at Havasu. I will be duck hunting because that's in duck season, cuz we're gonna go shoot some birds.
All right.
Yeah, I will Bugs Island too, Abe. Sorry, I'm going to keep interrupting.
No. We got Joe on here to talk about Dale Hollow. Steve, you're welcome to stick around and talk with Joe about this, since you're our TD extraordinaire for a lot of the stuff in that region as well. Or you feel free to drop off. Either way, because I know you're a busy man, very tired, very exhausted.
I hope she got them dishes done.
Oh,
It's up to you, Steve.
You got laundry too.
Yeah.
But here's the champ right there.
you got
Yeah.
Jordan. She'll handle that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man.
he done told us. He called it out. Did you get his good picture too, Jeff?
What's his
Easy
good one?
now.
You know, Joe knows.
I
I'm
know.
looking for this. I was looking for the shirtless one, but I couldn't find it.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. I saw that pop up on my feed, and I was like, surely to hell he's won this tournament if he's posting a picture like that.
Man, did you delete it, Joe?
I was lured into that the night before under influence.
Man.
I like it. I'm glad you were. You look good with a little GBO on you there, pal.
I know it hurt me, and it hurt Steve O too, though. But
I've seen the pain with Steve.
I can't hide it. I can't hide it.
We don't not talk to each other much, but when he won't answer the phone, you know it was right after the third Saturday in October.
It doesn't happen very often, but I'm sure it does happen.
And before we get into the fishing, let me ask you this, Joe. Do you think Bama could beat SMU?
Yeah, I do believe that Bama could beat them.
We'll never know, will we?
No, never will. It doesn't matter.
Well, they got their hands full with Michigan, Jeff. Leave them alone.
That's right. That's right.
It'll be interesting.
Oh,
It won't be
man.
as entertaining for me, but it'll be fun.
Well, Joe, I'm glad we got you on here to talk football, but why don't you tell us about your fishing tournament?
Well, Dale Hollow's always been a pain in my butt, and I went into this and knowing it was going to be the same thing, so I tried to do a little extra pre-fishing. Sadly, the weather, the wind, limited the amount of time I spent on the water. My days of pre-fishing were limited to half days, but the good news is each day I pre-fished, I had over 90 inches of fish. And
that ain't bad.
every one of those days that I fished deep. I was fishing in 25 to 50 feet of water in the middle of the channels, and they were chewing. I never used active target until this event, and it absolutely changed my look going forward. Sadly, on competition day, the ramp that I had all to myself all during practice, it was like a magnet. It had drawn like 6 other competitors to the ramp. And so I knew at that point I was going to be faced with sharing water in that little area. When I got out there to launch, Mother Nature took hold, and I had to run back to the cabin, which gave everyone a chance to launch and get out and start fishing. By the time I got on the water, there were 3 kayaks sitting in the spot where I had been catching all my fish. So I pulled an audible. I decided I was just going to go beat the banks. I got a crankbait out, started going for it, and I never slowed down, except when all of my reels froze up. Every reel I had either froze solid or they backlashed because of the ice inside the spools. So I had to go to a spinning rod to throw crankbaits. And to be quite honest, it worked out quite well. I managed to catch 4 of the fish on a spinning rod and just kept grinding away, stayed on it all day long. I had about 13 points in that one area, that creek, that I hit time and time again. Nobody fished like I was fishing. I watched everybody so that I knew what they were doing, just so if I decided to go to that spot, whether or not it made sense, it was based on how it had been fished by the other anglers. Nobody fished like I was fishing, so I felt pretty confident that anytime I wanted to hit a wall or a point or a chunk rock, I had an arm up on them, because everybody was fishing really super fast down the banks.
And how did you said you used the active target. What did you see that kind of told you how the fish were positioned different from your pre-fishing?
Well, no, no, they were still there in pre-fishing, and actually I spoke with some of the anglers that were out there, on those fish, and just told them exactly what I was doing, and some of them caught fish, some of them did not, but the fish were suspended, and like I said, between 20 and 50 feet. I caught a largemouth in 53 feet of water during day 2 of practice. it was insane. And I looked at it and I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to catch one of these fish down there. But when you watch that bait fall and it's falling in the face of those fish and you move it and they just attack it, it's the most, it's like a dang video game of all things.
I was gonna say that's why it's a video game.
I can't do it. I'm too old school, and I'm kind of glad that it kind of petered out for me on the competition day, so that I could stick to old school, and it worked out for me. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm putting down the active target, but
But you won without
my
it.
fishing's going to change.
Were you watching them on the method that you switched to on tournament day? Were you watching them eat, or were you kind of figured out where they were and you?
I could see where they were. I could see where the fish were suspended off the points and off those bluffs, and I was throwing past them and just ripping it. I was using an 8-5 ratio reel, throwing a crankbait, and I wasn't letting them look at it long. I was ripping it through there, and I think the reaction bite was pretty impressive for the cold water.
What was the water temp up there?
56 to, in some places I saw 54. The highest I saw was 58. So water temperatures, I guess they could have been colder in some parts of the lake, but for where I was, they were in the mid to upper 50s for the most part. The wind played a little bit in the fishing strategy, but it really didn't have any impact. A lot of people say, well, you fishing wind-blown banks. And I said, I was fishing every bank. If I turned a corner and it was slick water, I was fishing it. It didn't matter. The largemouth seemed to really hang out in those shaded areas in the calmer water. And then the smallmouth, they were roaming. And I was intercepting them, left and right on the points primarily.
And you had some ice issues too, didn't you?
Did have some ice issues. I just had an MRI on Monday, and I got a little tear in my MCL from a little slip and fall in Kentucky. And so I was going to be real careful on the ramps. The first day I got on the ramp, it was cold as hell. Excuse me. And I was the only one at the ramp, so the ramp was dry when I backed in. But when I stepped out and stepped on my running board, I ended up on the ramp because it was covered in ice. So nobody was around to see it, so I bounced up and just kept going. But there was a lot of ice.
Steve-O, good night, boy.
He gone?
Yeah, he said boss lady has her chores done.
We love Steve. Appreciate you, Steve.
Poor Steve.
I had a poll going over on YouTube. I was going to share with him, but he's gone.
Oh, dang. Well, you share it with us. That'll be good.
Yeah,
Yeah, we like to talk about polls.
Yeah, polls. No,
Yeah.
I asked poll. I put a question up. Are you starting your season at Havasu or Kissimmee, just to see, because we have a large audience tonight. Number one, thank y'all. We've been running about 150 live viewers all night, so we appreciate y'all on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at. But the YouTube audience is big tonight. It's the largest we've had in a minute. So I wanted to ask them where they were starting their season. Right now it's 60-40 Kissimmee to Havasu. Which sounds about right.
60-40.
Yeah.
I wonder how many have traveled to Arizona or Havasu. It's going to be it's a poke.
I think you may get some of the Texas guys. I'm talking about in numbers. 10 or more, let's say. I think you may get some of the Texas guys that go out and fish that. I would think California, maybe up into that northwest region, Colorado, Utah. I think it's going to be kind of really regional showing up this year. Outside of a couple that are drivable distance, I think Florida will pull a pretty good bit of the southeast folks. I know Champlain has it's had a lot of the rotating schedule with other events in the past couple of years. So I think people that have some experience there may go to that one as well. But I mean, it is pretty spread out. I think people are going to have to really, kind of map their year out with time off work and allocated funds to make a few of these.
Yeah, depending on what other trails are going to be active, it's going to make a big difference on who goes where. And
that's another good point. I mean, if there's not as much competition, people have more money to spend. I mean, competition as far as your choices and what you spend on, but I think that could play into it.
I think it'll help the regional events if some of the national trails back off a little bit. I think the All-Americans backed down quite a bit. Nobody really is talking about the Hobie BOS, but we're not hearing anything real positive right there at this time. We'll just have to take the wait and see what happens. But in any event, Bass is out there with their schedule. Georgia Bass Nation, Tennessee Bass Nation, some of the regional trails that a lot of us in the Southeast will pick and choose a few of those events to fit in with the national events that we attend.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a plus for our sport. It's going to continue to change over time. It's just how we embrace the regionals versus the national trails as well.
Some of us are getting old too, Joe. It's hard for me and Jeff to get out of the house. Now, you run around out there like a spring chicken, but it's a lot.
You must be on that HRT or something, Joe. What you doing?
Stem cells. That's what he had in that cup he was holding up a minute ago.
No, I was going to show you that cup. Now listen, I went through great efforts to hold this cup up here because it had. I'll just put it up here. It has a selection of those Spro baits that I was.
It's got a selection of them hooks. I don't.
If you would fill that up and close your eyes and take a drink out of it, that'd be hilarious.
There's a bullet hanging out of this cup. But look here.
There you go.
That roller is the one that I literally caught over 90 inches a day in practice. That bait right there.
That's a little hover rig. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a little 3/8 ounce tungsten ball head. Unbelievable. I would have never thought that I would catch fish on that thing.
Yeah.
But I did.
Wow. It's turning everybody into crappie fishermen, Joe. That's what it's doing.
It has, except now you get to watch them.
Yeah.
And that's I like looking around. Looking down at the screen the whole time really is monotonous for me.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to want to, unless they're really acting right. It's hard for me to want to.
I figured if we went to Table Rock or some of these, high mountain lakes, it would come in handy if I figured out how to use it. And Del Hollow seemed to be the best opportunity. I've had it for 2 years, never used it. I've had it on 3 different kayaks, never turned it on. Never.
At least you got it figured out.
Well, I do now, but I still got a lot of learning to do. And I'm too old to learn a whole lot. So, guys, y'all just bear with me.
Yeah. Well,
Todd is too. He just asked if KBF's announced their schedule yet.
Come on, Todd.
I thought Jensen took that over.
2-man team trail. That's a different entity, man. Can't let that in.
I don't even understand. Do they have to be on the same kayak?
I hope so.
I do too.
Single seater.
I wonder if AJ still got that 17-foot 2-seater available.
I don't know. I remember he posted it for sale, didn't he, a year or so ago? I hate to see that one go, man. That was the original Black Pearl out there. He's Johnny Depp on that thing.
That was a head turner back in the day, man. Back at the old NC.
Him come flying through there, one leg propped up like the Captain Morgan man.
Yeah.
I think if they're 2-man teams, they got to be on the same kayak. That's just the way I look at it.
You would think.
Two guys, one rod.
It take turns between beers.
Yes. Now that's a team trail.
Now
You start off with a case, and you have to finish it before you come back in to check your fish in.
I love it. And
they're in a cooler.
It's like the old. Yeah, like what is that? The old F-15 fighters with the 2 guys in there. You got one guy in the back telling you what's up, navigating. Other guys
All right,
something like that. Can you imagine? I don't know how it's going to go. I know some of the river stuff's had a team aspect. All American guys had a team aspect. They like it. Yeah.
So Lambert.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about this?
I love it myself. I think it'd look good with the stuff I got behind me.
I know it would, and maybe you need to participate in a few of these this year. But listen, the color is not the Vols color.
Well, I don't know who colored it.
They tried.
I think Sassy Dan put it in the sun, and it faded on it.
Well, that's just the retro look, is what it is. I think.
Yeah,
it's
muted.
I'll tell you, it's muted orange.
Talking about this lake program, I think it's awesome.
It is.
Bill Dance he's a legend to our sport, and to see that he's endorsing this in the state of Tennessee is a big, big
Well, they're
blessing.
making huge investments in those lakes too, with more F1 strain bass, more bait programs and stuff throughout the Bill Dance chain of lakes. I mean, and hopefully cleaning out the rest of the Asian carp up there on Kentucky Lake.
Oh yeah.
But they've done a lot with it, and Shane Frazier, our friend, he runs the Tennessee Team Trail on the boat side that's involved with the Bill Dance program. So a lot of good stuff happening there, and the Big Bass partnership is really cool.
I was just going to make one statement about Del Hollow and the amount of anglers that got over 90 inches was crazy. And it was, I mean, all the ties. It's I've never seen that in an event like this, and it was pretty competitive. I just kept my head down the whole time. At one point, I did see that I might have taken the lead, and I thought there's not a chance in hell that that Adam was going to let that stay. So I just kept slinging until the buzzer went off, and then when I looked at all of the different limits, it was mind-boggling. So kudos to the anglers that fished that this week. They were getting after it.
Yeah.
Really good
stuff,
numbers.
man. Way to hold off the field and get that dub, man. That was awesome, Joe. It's good to see
I
it.
appreciate it, guys. It's a blessing. I tell you, it's not something that comes very often for the old guy, but when it does, it sure is sweet.
Yeah.
We love having you on, Joe. Always a pleasure.
And Joe,
Love
hey,
it.
look, I saw a picture of you a couple weeks ago up here at Bentonville for some sort of meeting, and I don't know if you know, but I live about 10 minutes down the road. So next time, if you ever up here again, you make sure you holler, and we'll go grab dinner or something.
Well, I'm going to be coming to Bentonville quite a bit. I've been a developer for Walmart for over 40 years, and I'm starting to get, in my old age, busier than I've ever been in developing commercial real estate. So
okay.
I'm just thankful that the number of tournaments has kind of cut back this year. Fishing 35 or 40 tournaments was getting into my bank account a little bit.
Well, I think those Walmart commercial deals may help that some.
Yeah,
sounds like.
yeah.
I hope
Joe will
so.
be fishing the full bass schedule every year.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to fish a few opens this year.
Uh-oh, look at you coming out of retirement.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome.
Good deal. Good luck.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. We'll let you slide out of here. Joe McRoy, everybody. Congrats on the Dale Hollow win.
See you, Joe.
Appreciate it. Love you guys. Take care.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to let go.
One of our favorites.
Definitely. And he's, we've talked about it before. He's had such a big impact on the sport, just knowing him, hanging around him. And then, of course, spawning the Save JT deal down there at the first Bassmaster Championship.
That's right. We're going to do the giveaway here in just a second, but I saw Ryan, you hit star on this little comment. Colton.
Yeah, I have not heard about the Fishing Chaos nationwide events, Colton.
Yeah. I'll give my opinion, assuming that is some sort of online only nationwide event, is don't do it. They're ripe for fraud. You asked our opinion. That's my opinion. They're ripe for fraud. Don't fish the online events. But if you do, I hope you have fun.
But if you do, I hope you have fun.
Hope you have a great time.
Okay. I like that. I like that you're ending the show with a positive spin, Jeff.
Yeah, man. I'm all positive. All love
Out
here.
here shooting holes in people's feet today.
I know. I think Steve's mad at me. He's probably mad at me for the
I am.
bidet.
I don't know if he is.
For the
Goodness.
bidet comment.
Well, he shared a lot of information with that one.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't need to know your bathroom cleansing methods if you're ever a guest on the show.
That's what I'm saying. My Lord.
Oh, boy.
Give it a few extra minutes for the giveaway because we have so many people in the giveaway tonight. A lot of folks on. We appreciate y'all. I was going to try to rush off here and watch the Razorback basketball game, but they are getting wrecked by Michigan with my last check-in, so I'm not in a hurry to do that.
Oh.
Yeah. Christian Conrad, anyone doing the Kaz Kayak Adventure Series? You doing any of those, Ryan?
I ain't doing one tournament next year, pal. I'm done with this mess.
I feel you, brother.
I'm just going to put a cardboard cutout in here on Monday nights.
Just have the chair shaking a little bit.
Yeah, record some catchy one-liners and just press play.
There we go. I think we got enough entries for the evening. Let's go ahead and hit this thing and see what's up. Better to be owed money than owe it, Jamie Goggins says. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything else. All right, here we go. Drawing for the Revos. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? I saw Ashley Kay entered. How dare her? I don't think she should be eligible.
Hilarious.
No, we gotta draw again.
Are you kidding me, James? Do you hack the algorithm?
James, tell me something in the comments, James, if you want me to hit redraw since you just won last week.
How close are you two, Jeff? Tell me the truth.
Well, we live close.
Yeah, I mean, how much time do you spend together for him to be winning all these giveaways?
I know, for real. You know what? I'm gonna hit it again. We'll do 2 pairs tonight. How about that?
Sorry, James.
Think. William Rowe. There you go.
That was
Mr.
like
Rowe.
right the spot where James just was, I think, actually.
Yeah.
It tried to go back to him again. We're going to have to redo our software. I'm calling the program writer.
James said spin it again. He wanted us to spin it again. We spun it again.
We did it, James.
Mr.
We knew
Rowe.
you would say that.
All-American champ, James Haverly. Spin it again. So, William Rowe, you're the winner, man. Reach out to us on Facebook. We'll get you a code ASAP.
Yeah. Now we can go watch basketball.
That's it. Good show, y'all.